So I have to make a point here. This happened last night. Basically, it was a holiday weekday. Today's a Tuesday. I'm going back to work. So it was Labor Day. And a lot of people are staying at home, maybe throwing a small little party, maybe have the neighbors over, that sort of thing. So we were in the backyard and we were just finishing eating, and we're in a duplex. So the guy upstairs came down to chat because he's a good friend. And he comes around, often, so it's not unusual. But he is also very political, so you can get where this is going. It's not uncommon, in fact, it's almost guaranteed that we get into some sort of very light debate, not necessarily an argument, because on both sides we bite our tongues. I don't want to argue with him, and he doesn't want to argue with me, but things do get tense sometimes, and that's just what happens when you talk about politics. But this is the point I wanted to make, is that I'm not going to talk about different sides or policies or anything like that. This was the only point that I wanted to make, and I just couldn't get through to him. And this is the thing. People forget what their true power is in this world. They forget the power of influence. They do. He sits there, knows a lot about policies, a lot about what's going on, but does nothing. Does nothing. And then when I suggest to do something about it, it's immediately shoved off to the side as, oh, no one's going to listen, nobody cares, that sort of thing. True or not, it doesn't matter. In the end, basically what you're telling me is you enjoy complaining because you refuse to do anything. Doesn't that sound silly? Why would you put yourself through it? It's better not to know anything if that's truly the case. Why do you bother learning as much as you can about something that you can do nothing about? And I don't believe it's true. I don't think you can do nothing. I think he's lazy, which he is in many ways, and it shows by the fact that he refuses to use his trash can. He would rather throw it in the yard, which is always my fight. I compost. Just throwing it in the yard is not composting. That's leaving it out for the dog to choke on. There's a big difference. And I don't care if it's biodegradable. He will eat it. And so will any other unsuspecting animal that comes by that doesn't know any better, like the neighbor's cat or the neighbor's dog. Regardless. You can already tell that's the type of person that he is. So, going back to the point here, I want everyone to understand there is something you can do about anything and everything. The walls that surround you are put there by you. No one put them there. You did. And if you're waiting for a savior or a hero to come from the outside and break them down, I'm afraid he or she is not coming. Only you can break them down. And this was basically his premise, was that one day, this magical day, the perfect president would come along and make everything okay. Neglecting the fact that the president really doesn't control everything. I had on my refrigerator the name of our senator and said, here, give him a call. Tell him how you feel. He wouldn't take the paper. He said, what would I want that for? I don't know. Maybe because he's our elected official and he represents us. Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe that's why you would want to take the paper. But no, he didn't want it. Which it just proves the point. I don't think he actually wants to do anything about it. I think he enjoys the drama. I hope that I'm wrong. But based on what I know, that's the only conclusion I can come up with, is you must love the drama. I will be meeting with our senator on Thursday. I don't know about him. I offered it. I didn't offer him to come with me. God, no. Don't steal my limelight. Then it's a fight. But there's his phone number. Call him. And if it's something, and he's a reasonable guy. From what I know, I mean, I don't know him on a family standpoint, but in terms of meeting with him, talking with him, he's very nice. He listens. He's not a jerk, which is, thank God. There are some states where the guy is a total jerk, but ours isn't. He's very approachable, and there's really no excuse not to talk to him. If you're really that disappointed about policy and he really is such a jerk that you just can't meet or talk to him, then you know what? Call the guy every day, if you want to, every hour, and say, listen, I don't like hearing the sound of my voice any more than you do. How about we make this a bit more painless for the both of us and just do what I'm telling you to do, or do what I'm asking you to do. However you want to word it. Short, sweet, there's your phone call. This is what I want. This is what will happen if I don't get it. Meaning, I will continue to harass you because that's what you are as a public official. I can harass you, you can't harass me. That's the difference. That's why you're in your position. But you know, it's not even that. It's not that the politician's a jerk. It's not that you can't contact the guy. It's laziness. It's because you don't want to put the time in. Instead, you're thinking that there's going to be a president who just knows because, you know, they can read your mind. They just know exactly what it is that you want because you're complaining on a porch somewhere out in Meriden, Connecticut, as if the guy can hear you. The neighbors can't, but somehow you're going to get through to somebody that way beyond your small circle of friends. I don't think so. I highly doubt it. So then I suggested, I didn't say the word, because sometimes it's a dirty word. For some reason, activism is a dirty word. I'm not sure why. I did it for a while around the state, and you know what? It wears you out. I get sick of being surprised in a bad way when you approach people who you think, because of where they live, oh, these people are going to love that I'm here. They're going to love knowing about this policy. They're going to want to stop it. And then you find out they work for that company. And they can't wait to trash their own waterway. You're just like, are you kidding me? You live on the damn river. You have small children. You know they're going to be playing in it. It makes you crazy. It really does. I've done my part for that amount of time. I'm getting into the groove now where I may be healed from so many of those unusual wounds that I may start getting back into it again. But, you know, it seems to always be the same damn people who do anything. The elderly do things. The very young do things. Everybody else, I don't know. I don't know where they are or what they do. He, in particular, seems to have all kinds of time to complain about being bored at his age. Amazing. 40-something. He's bored, like he's 10 years old and has no responsibility. He has nothing to do, so instead he puts in his time and money into big boy toys that even those don't take up all of his time. And so he drinks and sits around and talks and annoys everyone about policy. It's just, you have the time. You just don't want to do anything. You don't. And that's the other thing, was then when he scoffed at the activism comment, like, why don't you go out and join with pick any, there's so many going on. Pick someone to just join in. Pick up a sign. Write on some cardboard. Go be active. If you have this pent up energy, go put it to use and go show, alert the media. You start something or learn about someone doing something, and then you be the one to make the phone calls to the local news broadcasting and say, hey, something's going down. You don't have to tell them you're in it. You don't have to be in it. Just say, listen, there's a bunch of people here. They're talking about this, that, or the other thing. It's crazy. You should come look at it. You should come check it out. Put it on the news. Be the PR if you're not going to be the activist. But do something. You sit around and complain and do nothing. It's annoying. I don't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it. And then you wonder why you have no audience. And then when he scoffs at the activism, well, you know what? And I told him verbatim, what do you think our founding fathers did? It's a damn soapbox. Find something, stand on it, and there's your speech. Start going. If you're right, people will listen. If you're wrong, people will either walk away or they'll argue with you. There's your standpoint. You know, and it's not just this country. There are other countries doing that, and it's the only way. Because you know what? It's unfortunate, but it's true that money is speech. I can only say for this country. I can't talk about others because I don't know, but in this country, unfortunately, money is speech. It shouldn't be. It's wrong. Because speech is speech. Money, if I hold money in my hand, it doesn't talk. But in this country, it does. In fact, it seems to speak louder than I can scream. And it seems to speak up for everyone when everyone else falls silent. Too many fall silent. And they let these guys come in. I'm saying guys, it's, you know, not being sexist. It's not always men doing bad things, but I'm just saying, you have these people with money going in and influencing our politicians, and then you wonder why nothing goes your way. Of course, because they've been bought. They've been bought because you fall silent. Because you know what, when you're a politician, I'm not saying they just sit in their office all day, but painting the picture here, you sit in your office, and who is there to influence you? Who walks in? Is it the local people coming in and saying, listen, in our case, Senator Len, this is a problem. I know it's not completely within your control, but what can we do about this? What can we do about that? Or you know what? This bill about to pass, I want you to oppose it, and here's why. This is why it is bad for us, and this is why you should oppose it. Help the guy out. Tell him what it is you freaking want. He doesn't know what you want. Instead, what's happening is it's the people with money, ideally, who have interests, companies, who are coming in instead to fill the space. And they are speaking not with words, but with money. And they're winning. And then we complain. Gee, I wonder why things aren't going our way. I wonder, maybe because you're not saying anything. And if you were in that politician's shoes, I know you're not a saint. You would do the same thing. And if you were a saint, you'd never be one. So there's your case in point right there. It just wouldn't happen. But I highly doubt it. Most, and I say most, maybe the Dalai Lama and Mother Teresa, very few people are what I would consider quote-unquote saints. The rest of us are far from it, so let's just get past that point. Okay, you're not a saint. You know damn well if you were in that position and you were, like everyone's desperate for money, and someone gives you the quick and easy way out and they'll pay all your bills. Oh, that's amazing. And then you look around and you say, well, I mean, no one else is complaining. No one else seems to have a problem with it because they all fall silent. I guess it's okay. So that's the only thing. I just wanted to make that point because it's aggravating and I say it, but you know, people just don't want to hear it. If you want something done, you have to say something about it. It goes for relationship, it goes for politics, it goes for everything. No one else knows what you are thinking but you. And if you tell no one else knows. Stop playing the victim and pretending that we all know what the hell it is you want. We don't. And if you do nothing, don't complain. because it's your fault.